Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, plural, Vern Glenn, FP Santangelo Jr., and Russell Jackman. At each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question. Baseball Brothers is going to be our trivia question. All right?
Baseball Brothers.
Baseball Brothers. All right. We got a lot to talk about. I know Vern pointed out that the Sharks hiring a new coach.
Historic day. Yep.
Historic day. Okay. And then I got a few other little kind of tidbits here, and I know there's a lot of other stuff to talk about, but Nike closing 100 stores in Russia. And then again, some of this stuff is a couple of weeks old, but we didn't get a chance to cover it. But then also like Deshaun Watson, is he gonna face what do you think is going to happen with him?
Well, we're just all in a holding pattern with him. I mean, the judge had a hearing last week, and then nothing's been resolved. So, I guess the league is monitoring to see what legally is happening before they step in and take action.
Gotcha. Okay. And with crypto having a little bit of a crash, crypto seems to be leaving sports. So there's a few kind of interesting things to talk about here. All right. This segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, still providing more. In fact, they actually increased their yield from 6% to 7%. Interest rates have gone up. And,
got a whole point.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, pretty good. Minimum investment, though, is $250,000, so it's only for the big boys. Give them a call or actually check them out on their website, pacificprivatemoney.com. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here, along with FP Santangelo Jr., Vern Glenn, and Russell Jackman. Vern, you're going to bring up something about the Sharks.
Well, it's probably going to be our lead story today as we record this show. But a very historic moment in the league. They are about to bring in their first black general manager of an NHL team. His name is Mike Grier. He's a former San Jose Shark. Played with him for 3 years, and most recently he had been in management with the New York Rangers, before that with the Chicago Blackhawks. So he's been kind of groomed for this, and so he gets this job, and then what he does is he inherits a huge, like, oh my God, payroll to some of his forwards and some of his defensemen. He's got to go out and get a coach, but he will be introduced as we record this show today as the new general manager of the San Jose Sharks. And his brother, Chris Grier, is the general manager of the Miami Dolphins. Oh. How about that?
Yeah. That's actually, I guess, that's the last major sport, right, to hire, a black GM. I mean, are there black coaches in the NHL? I'm trying to think of. But you being a GM, that's a big deal.
I'm giving you a blank stare.
Yeah.
Oh, if you ask me to name any coaches in the NHL.
Well, true. Yeah. I mean, that is true. I
believe there's an assistant general manager in the league, but full on general manager, no. And speaking of breaking barriers, there is a woman that is a head coach of a AHL team with the Seattle Kraken. So she coaches like their top affiliate. So
all right.
Hey, it's happening. Long overdue, but hey, significant.
Hey, listen, you know what?
And the way the Sharks haven't made the playoffs in 3 years, I don't think that the bar is set too high. He just has to pretty much find a way to get them back into the playoffs, and they'll probably have job security for quite a while.
Yeah, this is a full-on start from scratch. General manager, coach, and you have to massage what you're going to do with. I mean, they're paying 4 guys $26 million on the team. 4 guys, collectively. So
guys, I work in television. I want to, since we're talking hockey right now, this is Sports Econ 101. I want to give you like the ratings of hockey, right? Because we don't really know too much about hockey. We can't name too many coaches, things like that. Yeah. So this past season, the ratings dropped 23% among RSN. Wow. That's regional sports networks. So that means your local team, you're not watching your local team whatsoever.
Right.
But the good news is on nationally televised games, it was up 18%. So there is national interest when the good teams are playing, okay?
Right.
But locally, people don't care about their teams.
Just
So
right through the toilet.
this is something that Major League Baseball has been experiencing too.
Now it depends on which market you're in.
And the NBA has been experiencing too. For some reason, locally, ratings are going down, and I think we're kind of seeing top-heavy leagues. That's why across the board.
Well, let me ask you, when you say local, are you talking about local here in the Bay Area or each local market?
Each local market.
Interesting, because
Wow.
Detroit, the New York Rangers, I mean Chicago. You'd think that those.
Well, when you factor it, so when you have a good team, right? Obviously, they're going to have great local ratings. Okay.
Yeah.
Not specifically, but when you factor in all the local ratings together, you're going to see a huge drop. So it's going to average out to a drop.
Wow.
And I wonder among those teams, how many of those teams are warm weather teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, like Tampa Bay. Of course.
And look at what the Sharks have to compete with. Look at what the Sharks have to compete with here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
You know, the Giants, the 49ers, and the Warriors. You know, and they haven't made the playoffs in the last 3 years, so it's already not a very popular sport. And then you don't go anywhere, and you're not successful. Of course, you know, winning changes everything, and people will watch a winner. Yeah. So if the new GM can make them a winner, that'll probably help their cause quite a bit.
But the season.
I will say this though: the Sharks do have their core fan base that attend these games. I mean, they have no problem putting butts in the seats, so to speak. But across,
how long is the season from when to when? Generally.
Well, late fall, and then you get your exhibition games.
About the same length as the NBA season. It's about
that's the thing. I mean, that's the problem is competing against other sports that are right around that same time.
Yeah, well, you're always.
But it is regarded as one of the big four, though. So.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see here, Deshaun Watson. You know what? What do you think his future is going to be?
Probably going to get suspended.
I think in the long run, he'll be suspended. We don't know the number of games. We don't know if it's a full season, half season. I just really don't know. I mean, I think the league is monitoring what's happening in the court system, and we're all just kind of in suspended animation because the judge who had a hearing last week has not really come up with any kind of resolution one way or another. And so we're just kind of in a holding pattern with him. Meanwhile, Cleveland Browns is like business as usual. You know, mini camps, whatever, Watson is there throwing routes.
Okay.
And then off the field, he's reaching settlements with women who have brought suit against him.
Wow. Okay. FP, you were before we cut the break.
Actually, can we touch on something else?
Sure.
I don't think we've touched on this yet, but the huge news of last week was UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten, and the ramifications of that economically are huge, right? So this is going to be awesome for college football, fantastic for college football, right? You're going to have USC playing Michigan, you're going to have USC playing Ohio State. You're going to have them playing Wisconsin. There's going to be great football. You're going to have tons of these Big Ten teams in the Rose Bowl. Awesome, right? But think about the other sports. What about women's basketball?
Beach volleyball.
What about volleyball? What about water polo? What about all these other sports? It just it's college sports is going in such a direction where it's going to be now minor league sports. There's no way you're going to be able to take classes during your season anymore. The travel is going to be ridiculous. Think about it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a kid that goes to USC and I'm playing baseball there. I'm going to have to travel to Rutgers now. And then I'm going to have to go to Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't have a baseball team. But then I'll have to go to Michigan. Then I'm going to have to go to Ohio State. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm going to fail my classes. There's no way I could attend classes.
And that's the thing is, does the whole school have to be? You can't just take football will be in the Big Ten, but the other sports will stay, In
a perfect world, but that's not how it's going to happen because the Pac-12 is going to be like, no, we don't want you guys now. There's no way. Beat it. Try to figure that one out. So you're going to see in college sports, it become more of a minor league system that offers a scholarship in the offseason. I think that's what you're going to see. because these
Huh.
athletes are going to have to dedicate themselves
Yeah.
fully to sport. There's no way you can pass your classes, including some of these classes are really, really hard.
Sure.
So you're not going to be a student athlete anymore, like they said.
Or
And
everything will be
those eyeballs-
online, right? I mean, they'll just have to take their books with them and everything. Hey
Well,
guys,
still,
we're
well,
gonna cut to our first commercial break here. We're talking baseball brothers. All right. This brother duo finished their careers with a combined batting average of 331, thanks in no small part to the older of the two. His 3,141 hits outweighed the younger brother by a mere 2,878, but despite his offensive statistics, did not win a World Series. Which two brothers are we talking about? All right. Email Edward at sportsecon101.com the answer to this question. This brother duo finished their careers with a combined batting average of 331, thanks in no small part to the older of the two. His 3,141 hits outweighed the younger brother by a mere 2,878. But despite his offensive statistics, did not ever win a World Series. And so, Russ, you'll be happy. This takes place after 1902.
Well, that narrows it down.
Yeah, because there's no World Series before. Was it 1902 or 1903, the first World Series?
1903.
1903. Thank you very much. Boston Pilgrims over the Pittsburgh Pirates, right?
No, I think it was the Boston Americans.
Boston Americans. There you go. All right. Trick question for you. Okay. All right. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time. Edward Brown, FP Santangelo Jr., Russell Jackman, and Vern Glenn. First trivia question, guys. This brother duo, talking baseball brothers here, this brother duo finished their careers with a combined batting average of 331, thanks in no small part to the older of the two. His 3,141 hits outweighed the younger brother by a mere 2,878. But despite his offensive statistics, did not ever win a World Series. Which two brothers are we talking about?
I'm going to take a stab at it. I'm going to go Hank and Tommy Aaron.
No, that would have been a good guess.
Oh man, that was my best guess.
That was your best one. Yeah, no. Tony and Chris Gwynn.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right. Very good.
Yeah. Good one. FP, continue on with your college sports analysis.
Yeah, so we're seeing major realignment, guys, within all the conferences right now, major ramifications economically and just within the sport. You're going to see a lot of fun matchups. Of course, we're talking about USC and UCLA moving to the Big Ten, but we're hearing rumblings here in the Bay Area, and we'll see if this actually comes true, that Stanford is speaking about or whispering about at least joining the Ivy Leagues and doing a different model. So they would stay true to the college model. If you played sports, you get a scholarship, right? You attend classes, you do all these things, but you could not monetize yourself. You could not do the NIL deals. So it'll be interesting to see if we see all these big colleges that are obviously very money hungry, right? It'd be silly if they didn't do it. And the Power 5 conferences that actually get a lot of attendance, this and that. And then Stanford, that if you look at their football attendance, they really didn't even have really good attendance when they had Harbaugh there, when they had big teams. It's the same thing with Cal, too. Cal is the same way. Even when they had nationally ranked football teams, they had a really tough time pulling together a crowd. So it'll be interesting to see if Cal and Stanford and those types of schools make their own league and stay with the traditional college model.
So I wonder what the big deal is with the NFT, though. I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, what's the big deal?
Well, that was going to be my question, is that how for the non-superstars, how much can they really monetize themselves?
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. And that's why, like, what it comes down to, like, do I want to go to school and then maybe try for football and put that on the back burner?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, you won't get the 4- or 5-star recruits anymore to Cal or Stanford. Or to those schools that go that route. It just won't happen, because if I'm a 4- or 5-star recruit and I know I could get $100,000 at, I don't know, Clemson or Alabama or even more, 500, $1 million, I'm going to go there. I mean, that's just smart, right? That's just smart for myself, my family, and my situation.
Also, what do you think it does for the rivalries? You know, if you're suddenly going to have, you know, you're not going to see USC versus Notre Dame as kind of a big one. It kind of takes the edge off, you know, if it's going to be, you know, would you say Wisconsin versus USC? You know, just ones that ordinarily wouldn't play each other.
Yeah.
What about like USC and Cal? I mean, they call it the weekender, especially when the game is in Berkeley, and you have all these alums coming up, you know, for that game. I mean, that's over.
Good point.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, but I'm sure the NCAA is smart and they'll schedule those rivalries still. You know, outer league play, preseason play, all that stuff. So it's just a very, very interesting thing.
Yeah,
We got another thing I think we should just touch on real quick too. We kind of buried the lead a little bit, was NBA free agency, and I just want to throw out there how much money was committed within the first hour. $1 billion.
Crazy.
$1 billion. And that was just on 5 players. That was on Nikola Jokic, Bradley Beal, Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, and John Morant. $1 billion, 5 players.
Wow.
So that's called investing.
Yeah, sure. And you just think, I mean, some of these guys, you know, they get hurt, and then what do you know? Well, I guess it's not really guaranteed, right? Because if they get hurt, because there's some contracts are guaranteed, some aren't.
I guess it depends on the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the NBA it's mostly guaranteed. I think if you go into the NFL territory, they have a weekly player union, and you actually have to play your games to get that money. Now the model is going towards like most of it's guaranteed, or half of it at least.
Okay.
In Major League Baseball, it's the strongest contracts. You can, like, heaven forbid something happen to you, your family gets that money no matter what. If you sign the dotted line, $300 million, your family gets it no matter what.
You know, they
Boom, generation wealth. Boom.
Yeah, they should all do the Brian Bosworth. If you remember, he took out disability insurance on himself, and when he hurt his shoulders, I mean, he was set.
Oh yeah,
Smart,
smart guy. There was a couple of grumblings a few weeks ago about LeBron James wanting to own an NBA team in Las Vegas. Is that
well, he's one of what, 3 athletes that are worth what, $1 billion?
Yeah.
So he could certainly bankroll it.
True. I mean, I could see an NBA team in Vegas doing pretty well. It's all indoors, so you know you don't have to worry about the heat.
So guys,
well, it's certainly working for the Golden Knights.
Yeah, it did. So guys, I've been saying this for years, and I'm from Sacramento. I'm a Kings fan.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to happen that the Maloof brothers, that own a lot of real estate in the Palms specifically, in Las Vegas, we're going to move the Kings from Sacramento to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the Kings be playing cards as jerseys. And I thought that would have been amazing. I've always wanted like a casino team.
That's pretty good.
Where you
how do we know that hasn't already been talked about in the boardroom?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it just never really came to fruition.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't, because I want my Kings in Sacramento. Born and raised there. So yeah, that's what I've always thought. But I want to get Russ involved in this conversation.
Yeah, he's. I think he might be on. He's in his car, and I see that his microphone is off. Russ, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Go ahead. FP, what were you going to ask him?
Well, I was just going to ask, what does he think about a sports team in Las Vegas, another one in an NBA team? Like, would there be a market there?
I think it'd be a huge.
Well, to be really honest with you, I think, to be really honest with you, well, 2 things. One is I just started watching Winning Time. Have you guys watched Winning Time?
That's the wrong one to watch, Rush. You got to watch They Call Me Magic. That's the realistic one to watch.
They Call Me Magic.
Well, it certainly says
TV.
a lot about trying to get it. I understand that the story about Magic Johnson is probably a lot different on something like Winning Time, but
the difference is all the actors that are playing these athletes in Winning Time, the actual athletes are in the Magic Johnson documentary.
Oh, okay.
It tells you what really went on.
Yeah, as I say, that the Winning Time was kind of fun to watch, especially the character who played Jerry West. Kind of looked a little bit like him, and I know Jerry West apparently says, he goes, "That's nothing, that was just totally wrong."
Oh, he's seeking legal action about that.
Yeah,
being misrepresented.
I gotta say, it was pretty darn funny though. I just love that.
As far as the team in Vegas goes, I really think for the NBA, they owe Seattle
That's true.
the first rights to get another team. So if they expand, they shouldn't go to Vegas. They should move another team. There are a lot of teams that don't draw well in the NBA. Like New Orleans has never really worked out all that well down there. They could move them over to Vegas. You know, I often wonder what the Hawks are doing in Atlanta. They've been there forever, but they've never accomplished anything. You know, Minnesota is sometimes bandied about as a possibility.
How about bring back the Cincinnati Royals? Get Oscar Robertson to come back. You know,
I don't think Cincinnati could support him. I don't think that it'd be enough.
He's still averaging triple double.
You know, so the NBA gave Seattle the short end of the stick when they moved them over to Oklahoma City. They had always supported their team, and you know, I thought they were going to snatch up the Kings, and I'm glad they didn't. But you know, maybe the Clippers could move to Las Vegas. You know, would anyone really mind that much? I mean, the LA has always been a Lakers town. Speaking of winning time.
Now, Russ, you were kind of a big Kings fan. Did you grow up in Sacramento also?
No, but that's where I went to law school. I lived there from 1990 to 1998. In my first year there, I watched them lose 42 straight consecutive road games, setting an NBA record that hasn't been touched.
Oh no,
that'll make you another fan.
In the case of the Supersonics, they lost a bid to get a new arena built in Seattle, and when that went south, then the ownership paid off their lease to Key Arena, and then they moved to Oklahoma City.
Okay, hey guys, we're going to cut to another commercial break here. All right, ready? Talking baseball brothers. Most brother combinations are either all position players or all pitchers. But this trio split up with 2 third basemen and a pitcher. The oldest of the 3 was a pitcher who finished with a 20-23 record and a 4.73 ERA over 5 years. The middle brother went to 7 All-Star games, won an MVP, won 5 Gold Gloves, and won a World Series, all with the St. Louis Cardinals, though the last 4 years of his career were not with that team. The youngest of the 3 won a Gold Glove with Atlanta and 2 World Series rings with the New York Yankees. What group of brothers was this? All right.
Okay.
Kind of a long one there. All right.
Wow.
I'm not going to read it again until we come back from the break. I'll get laryngitis reading that much. Okay, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown, FP Santangelo Jr., Russell Jackman, and Mr. Vern Glenn. You know, it's funny, Vern, it says James Phone. I always have to remember that's your real name. But that's Vern. Okay, second trivia.
Vern's actually the middle name.
It is the Vern middle name. I do.
You know, and there's a story behind that. My family, on my dad's side of the family, a tremendous amount of men named James. And so when Dad came along, they called him Vernon just to create a distinction. I mean, somebody walks in the room and goes, "Hey, James, you got 5 people turning around." So
like George Foreman and his kids.
Yeah, so Dad started going by Vernon. Then I came along and I was Vernon Jr. And it just stuck.
Oh, that's awesome.
Gotcha. So
I was named after a kid that my mom met in a park. So I have no family tradition to my name.
All right, ready? Most brother combinations are either all position players or all pitchers, but this trio split up with 2 third basemen and a pitcher. The oldest of the 3 was a pitcher who finished with a 20-23 record and a 4.73 ERA over 5 years. The middle brother went to 7 All-Star games, won an MVP, won 5 Gold Gloves, and won a World Series, all with the St. Louis Cardinals, though the last 4 years of his career were not with the team. The youngest of the 3 won a Gold Glove with Atlanta and 2 World Series rings with the New York Yankees. What group of brothers are we talking about?
I was going to say the Alous.
No.
Is it the Alous?
No.
Yeah, I thought about the Alous, but they were all position guys.
Yeah.
So I'm coming up with nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
You ready? Ken, Cleet, and Cloyd Boyer.
I would never.
The Boyers.
Yeah, the Boyers. Yeah, can you remember? Yeah,
What did-
I didn't know there were 3 of them.
yeah, Cloyd. Yeah, everyone always forgets about Cloyd. But if I remember,
Yes,
Ken
I did.
yeah, Ken was with the
What
St.
year is that?
Cardinals, I think. What's that?
What year was that? Like,
70s.
oh, I have no idea who they
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
I've never heard those names.
Well, Clete Boyer, he was pretty well known with the Yankees as a third baseman.
Okay.
I guess Cloyd was the older one as the pitcher because Ken Boyer, I think, was with the St. Louis Cardinals. That would have been actually in the 60s. Yeah, in the 60s.
I like
Wow.
this rock group, Pink Floyd.
Yeah, yeah. Cloyd, it's all the same thing here. Now we already talked about Brooks Koepka. I think we talked about that last week. Him joining the.
You know, but
Kids.
I was watching some of the Live Tour over this past weekend. The winner share was over $4 million.
Yeah.
4 million.
Well, how much is the PGA normally? Like $1 million?
Normally it's about 1.3 to 1.5.
Okay.
For the big ones, the majors, like 2.1, something like that. But before 4 million. Wow.
I think
That was-
15th place got like $500,000 too, which is awesome. I think Bryson DeChambeau got 13th place, $500,000. Oh yeah, and he's getting paid $100 million just to join. Sure.
Wow.
You know, it's funny how people, they're ragging on this tour because of Saudi Arabia and human rights, but
I am.
I know. So the thing is, and a lot of people were kind of ragging on LeBron James because of China, because China has its own human rights issues.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't seem to kind of, well, I guess they don't have their own league to compete with, with the NBA, and so maybe that's the difference.
Well, no, what I thought it was interesting, like you could go to sweatshops too, and like what makes their clothing brands. But what was really interesting, and let me be very clear, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Absolutely not, right? So I'm not saying the Live Tour is better in any single way.
Sure.
But if you think about the history of the PGA Tour and where the money came from to fund the PGA Tour, it's probably slave money. It's probably like old time dirty money. It's probably like really, really bad money that came from generations ago, right? To fund the PGA Tour. So the money that funded the PGA Tour.
Really? Okay.
Just think about money in America and how long money's been around in America, right?
Old blue blood money.
Yeah.
Probably
come from things that are not good.
Gotcha. Well, and golf has always been kind of one of those, high echelon sports.
And very popular in the South too. So,
By the way, does anybody know why they call it the Live Tour?
yes, 54.
Yes.
For
yeah,
all
the
the
Roman
holes.
numeral numbers. Yeah. Is 54 LIV. Yep.
But 54 for what's the 54?
All the holes in the
They-
tournament.
All the tournaments are 54 holes.
54 holes. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, interesting. I was looking at the fact that there was a woman, Lynn Grant. She was the first woman to win the European mixed tour, right, in golf. But here's the thing, though. It's like, she was playing from the women's tees, and it's like if you're going to say men and women are going to compete for a specific prize, why wouldn't you have them play on the same playing field? You know what I mean? I'm sure she's an excellent golfer, so nothing to take away from her on that. But it's like, obviously she's playing from I'm going to say it's obvious. She's playing from the women's tees because it's less distance. And apparently it's about the average is 15% less distance.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a couple of guys who can hit the ball 400 yards, and there's many players who can only hit about 300 and some odd yards. So what do you do? Do you tell the guy who hits 400 yards, I'm sorry, you're going to have to play from another 25 yards back?
From the championship tees?
Yeah. You see what I mean? It's like, if you're going to have them compete at the exact same time, then make it even. Because it seems like golf, tennis, and bowling seem to be sports where men can compete against women, like really like a woman bowler and a man bowler, right? Sure, maybe one's stronger than the other, but is there any reason why they could? I could easily see a mixed tournament where it's like, no, everybody's on the same playing field on that, because a woman bowler can be just as good as a man bowler. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And tennis, In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think when they had Billie Jean King playing the old man, right?
Bobby Riggs.
Bobby Riggs, yeah. I mean, he was like 70 something and she was, 30 something, and he was, male chauvinist. It was all about publicity and all that. But they had Billie Jean King playing on the singles part and Bobby had to play on the doubles part. So it's like, gosh,
I didn't know.
I think
I think they played
did that correctly.
I think Edward. I think they played straight up.
Did they? Okay. Then if I'm mistaken, I
played straight up because at the time,
yeah,
Billie Jean King was the #1 ranked tennis player in the world.
Yeah.
Bobby Riggs, he had been playing women up to that point, and knocking her up and talking all kinds of smack and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But had been just kind of baiting Billie Jean King. Finally, she said, "All right, we're gonna play," and they did, and she dusted. It was like 6-2, 6-2, something like that. It was like it was nothing. But Billie Jean King, I mean, you want to peel back the onion a little bit. She was the #1 ranked player and won Wimbledon 3 straight times in the 60s, but she won in 1966, 1967. You know what she got? She got nothing. She got no money because women at the time were not looked on as professionals. Finally, 1968, they were like, all right, there's going to be some prize money for women. So she wins Wimbledon again. You know how much she got? $850.
Oh my God.
On the men's side, on the men's side, Rod Laver won Wimbledon. He won $2,500. That was the first prize money for him.
But still pretty low.
Yeah.
In fact,
so 1972 comes along. Title IX passes, where everything is supposed to be even, but it really hasn't been an even playing field since.
I mean, it really comes down to the sponsorships, the TV rights, et cetera. It's all a money game, is really what it is. There was a movie, I think it was Emma Stone who played Billie Jean King, and she did a good job. That was actually very, very good. I can't remember the name of the movie, but it was good. She did a good job on that. One quick thing here, Nike is closing. Now, again, this is a couple of weeks old, so I don't know if this is still the case. Nike is closing 100 stores in Russia, but apparently that only makes up 1% of its revenue, saying it can't guarantee the delivery of goods to customers in Russia. And the ruble at the time was at its high. Now, I don't know, is it still at its high? I haven't followed the ruble. Originally when the war came out, the ruble just got crushed. And then when it looked like things were changing a little bit, the ruble kind of went back up in value. But I wonder what other stores have been closing in Russia. Didn't they do some McDonald's too?
I mean, yeah, McDonald's were shutting down.
Yeah.
Here's a report that says that there are 6 Nike stores that remained open in Russia. All the other ones were temporarily closed. But yeah, it adds up to almost nothing as far as the company revenue.
Gotcha. And then what do you think about FIFA? Russian players banned from the 2022 World Cup. Formula One canceled 2022 Russian Grand Prix, and Wimbledon. No players from Russia or Belarus are allowed to participate.
Well, those are sanctions. Those are sanctions related to the conflict that's going on, and
Belarus, just because they're supporting Russia, they're going to penalize those players. It's really sad for the players because you might have the players themselves who are totally against the war, and they're decent people, but they just happen to come from the wrong country.
Yeah.
What if you worked all your life to make the Olympics, and then all of a sudden there's a boycott, and then you don't get to go?
The difference is, though, Edward, it's like if the New York Yankees declared war and started bombing somebody, right, and started killing innocent people.
Sure.
And then there's sanctions against the New York Yankees. Well, that's your organization. Okay.
Sure.
That's the organization.
No, you're right. Listen, I totally get it. I just feel sorry for the individual.
It sucks, but maybe, it is what it is.
Okay, third trivia question, talking baseball brothers. Let's see, so far you guys are 0 for 2. I'm very, very disappointed. Now, these are kind of hard.
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah. Okay, As players, these two brothers would combine for one World Series title, a combined 294 career batting average, 265 home runs, 1,364 RBIs, 1,146 runs, 9 All-Star appearances, a Gold Glove, and 1 MVP. However, the younger brother came to more fame as a manager, where he would manage the Mets, Braves, and Cardinals before winning 4 out of 5 World Series titles with his 4th team. Who are these brothers that played together on the 1960 Milwaukee Braves?
Wow.
All right. Okay, so a couple of brothers combined for only 1 World Series title, 265 home runs together, 9 All-Star appearances, a Gold Glove, and 1 MVP. The younger brother came to more fame as a manager, where he would manage the Mets, Braves, and Cardinals before winning 4 out of 5 World Series titles with his 4th team, which I haven't mentioned. Okay, who are these brothers who played together in the 1960 Milwaukee Braves?
I got a quiz for you too. I got a brother's quiz for you, Edward.
Okay. Okay. When we come back, you can ask about that question. All right. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101 will be right back with some closing comments.
All right.
We'll come back to Sports Econ 101. I'm going to ask just really quickly. Okay, these baseball players, 1 World Series title, 294 career batting average, but the younger brother came to be more known as a manager, where he'd manage the Mets, Braves, and Cardinals before winning 4 out of 5 World Series with his 4th team. That team was the Yankees. So now, tell me, which brothers are we talking about?
No idea.
Come on, who managed the Yankees to 4 out of 5 World Series titles?
In the 1960s?
No, later than that. Remember, because he played in the 60s, so he can't.
Oh, you're talking about what, Joe Torre?
Yes, Joe and Frank Torre. There you go.
All right.
Okay, so FP, really quickly, you said you have you have a question for me?
Yeah, 2 brothers faced each other. Twin brothers faced each other in the same game this season. Who are
This
they?
season?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, now, yeah, it's something that's actually happening. Not it wasn't
this
100 years
season.
ago.
Actually, Giants related.
Yeah, twin brothers. Twin brothers
Ah.
faced each other in a
Okay,
game.
guys, you're gonna have to help
I
me.
believe they actually exchanged lineup cards for
Yeah,
the
they
game.
did.
Oh, wait a minute, I did see that. Okay, go ahead and give it to me.
Taylor and Tyler Rogers, the relief pitchers for the San Francisco Giants and San Diego Padres.
There you go.
Very
Okay,
good.
I love it.
Very, very good.
Okay, are you guys ready for our thoughts for the day? All right. Stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution. Albert Einstein said that. Okay. And why did the photo go to jail? Indecent exposure, of course.
Yep.
I don't think
I like
today's
that.
kids would get
That
that
one
at
I
all.
like.
Yeah, next week I got a couple of really good ones for you. Okay.
Photo go to jail.
Yeah, you like that? Okay. Tune
I have
in.
to
next
remember
week.
that one.
Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We'll be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Good night, America.
So long.